All right. Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Ayanna Pressley. I'm the Congresswoman representing the Massachusetts 7th Congressional District. It is a great honor to stand here alongside Representatives Clyburn, Scanlon, and Omar, and certainly an honor to stand shoulder to shoulder with such a broad and diverse coalition of movement builders and justice seekers. The mass incarceration crisis is one of our country's greatest failures. It is a policy failure and it is a moral failure. It's a shameful crisis that has ravaged our communities, destabilized our families, and inflicted generational trauma for far too long. Growing up with an incarcerated parent myself, I can only imagine how different my own childhood would have been if my father was able to get the help that he desperately needed. Instead of compassion and care, the system only offered him criminalization and incarceration for his substance use disorder. And as a child, I was forced to also carry that burden, that stigma, that shame. My story is hardly an anomaly. Across the United States, 50% of adults have had an immediate family member incarcerated. That is a tragedy, and it is a damning commentary on the state of our nation. But there is a solution, and clemency is a part of that solution. President Biden can use clemency as a tool to put thousands of people on a pathway to healing and reunification with their families. He was elected with a mandate to lead with compassion and change lives for the better. And today, he has the power to do so right now. The power to reunite families, addressing long-standing injustices in our legal system, and to help us end mass incarceration. He has the power to cement his legacy as one of the most impactful presidents of our time. And he has the support of millions of people across our country who have felt the harms of mass incarceration. Young children longing to hug their grandparents, people who have taken responsibility for their mistakes, and those who simply were never given a fair chance. Clemency works. Clemency heals. Clemency saves lives. Many of us are standing here today at this podium. We know this to be true. That's why earlier today, my colleagues and I sent a letter to President Biden calling on him to use his executive clemency authority, and we have some ideas on who he should prioritize. The elderly and chronically ill are folks that pose no threat to public safety. People with unjustified sentencing disparities like crack cocaine disparities, and even those who don't benefit from new laws due to lack of retroactive clauses. Those on death row who are at risk of barbaric and inhumane murder at the hands of the Trump administration can have their death sentence commuted and be resentenced to a prison term. And women who were punished for defending themselves against their abusers or were coerced into criminal activity as part of an abusive relationship can benefit from clemency. Broad clemency action works. We know President Biden agrees because of what he has done. The president's previous use of clemency to pardon people convicted of simple marijuana possession and LGBTQ plus former service members has had life-changing impacts. So as we brace ourselves for an incoming administration and anticipate wholesale harm rather than healing, we must do everything in our power to save lives while we still can. President Biden, there are 61 days remaining in your presidency, and the time to act is now.